Ladies and gentlemen, Apple has just released their new M1 computer chips. So, why don't we analyze what all this hype is about? Approximately exactly November 10th, 2020, Apple announced that they're going to be manufacturing their own in-house computer processors for their Mac computer line. And they seem to be calling it the M1 chip or Apple Silicon or Apple's own in-house processor, because that's what it is. It's an in-house processor for all the computers they make. And if you're not tech savvy, processors are basically the brains of a computer. To basically make a long story short and spare you guys all the boring kind of technical details, because I don't even know all the technical details, what this allows for Apple to do by making their own processor for all the computers is basically completely optimize all the products that they make. And if you have an iPhone, you know that Apple is already the king of optimization, because these little things and the iPad and stuff basically act like computers. I mean, they're fast. Like, you wouldn't expect something this small to do what it does. So imagine that in bigger form in their computers, but better because it's a computer. But no, seriously, this was no joke. Apple was claiming over double the performance in some of their products, and I'm like, damn, this is looking, ooh, I want me one of them. I literally bought a 2019 iMac when they first released, and I'm like, well, they're gonna drop this? Imagine the people that bought stuff in 2020. They're probably salty. I'm not even gonna blame them. You should probably return it or hate yourself for life because you fucked it. This kind of sounds crazy. Like, is this true? So I decided to look into it, and I'm looking and I'm seeing all these videos from Marques Brownlee, Max Tech, even someone called Michael Tobin. And in the videos they were making, the computers that they were comparing the Apple M1 computers to were like 10 times the price. Like, I'd seen some people compare the base Mac Mini to like a $10,000 Mac Pro. The base Mac Mini starts at $699 or $799 or $899, one of the three. But that's still ridiculous. And I'm like, yo, is that what's happening? Because if that's what's happening, then this is big. Also, another thing that Apple making their own chip will allow you to do is run any iOS or iPad app on your computer itself. So I'm assuming things like Snapchat and other iOS things that we're used to, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't have one because I'm broke. But that's cool, I feel like. Or distracting, because imagine just getting a bunch of Snapchat notifications on your laptop. That's just, I don't know if we want that. And I know you're probably wondering, but Henry, what's the catch? I mean, this is Apple. This all sounds too good to be true. There's gotta be something else. Yeah, and to that I say, you're right. It does sound too good to be true. But is it all just hype? I don't think I would say that it's all just hype, because I mean, the performance that people are getting from a lot of the tests that I've been seeing, it's all legitimate and Apple's really doing it. But there is a catch, and the catch is it's not perfect. I mean, all of this stuff is brand new and we're just now seeing this technology. So that means all the companies that already had all their apps and programs developed and made for the chips and processors that Apple were using before, which were processors from Intel. If you guys aren't familiar with tech, main big companies out there are really Intel and AMD. So most companies and program developers are developing their apps to work on those processors, and Apple's using Intel. But now that Apple has made their own, that's like giving the whole computer a brand new brain. And we all know what happens when you get a brand new brain. And what that is you need to transition. You need to get used to it. You need to practice. It's not perfect yet. And anyone who buys one of these now is basically going to be a test subject for Apple for what's to come in the future. I mean, think about it. If this is first generation of what Apple's doing, these are going to be the worst computers from Apple that we're going to see. It's interesting. But keep in mind, since the M1 chip is basically a new brain for the computer, there's most likely going to be some compatibility issues with the apps and software that we use every day. And I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something to keep in mind if you're one of the people that think about buying these computers. Because from what I've seen, a lot of the performance and optimization that people have been getting because of the new chip and the just amazing speed that they offer, that only happens with apps that have been optimized. Something that I've seen recently, for example, is basically Adobe Premiere still drains the same battery and runs the same kind of speed as it does on any other Apple computer that you would compare it to. But when Adobe gets the chance to update their app and the software for the new Apple chips, you'll most likely start to see improvements in performance and battery life and all of that. But until other developers and software creators optimize their apps for the new chips, Apple is basically working around that by emulating an Intel processor through the software with a translation layer called Rosetta. Kind of sounds confusing, but what it's basically doing is any app that hasn't been optimized for the Apple M1 chip is gonna see the M1 chip as an Intel chip and just work without you having to do anything, which is nice. But as far as the whole emulating the Intel processor and creating like that translation layer through Rosetta goes, Apple has said that all of that should be smooth sailing and you really shouldn't notice a difference. But I've done some digging and watched a couple of videos here and there, and from what I've seen, most people are having no issues and perfectly fine, but some people have had issues with the apps. They shouldn't, but they might. Figured I'd throw it out there. So, what are my overall thoughts and recommendations to anyone who's looking at these computers and maybe thinking about purchasing one? I'd have to say right off the bat, this is super exciting, and like when I saw this and I was looking at these things, I was geeked. I'm not kidding. I was geeked like a kid on Christmas Day. But it all depends on the direction that Apple decides to take with it. So far, I'm seeing everything is smooth sailing, but we all know Apple, they could do some dumb shit. In terms of the actual computer, it's just not perfect yet. So if you're someone like me whose work involves compatibility with certain pro apps, you know, things like Final Cut, Premiere Pro, the Adobe Suite, or any other like visual effects, whatever it may be, some of those apps may not be fully optimized for Apple's M1 chip. And honestly, in my opinion, I think it'd be best to wait for Apple to release their Pro line of products that'll have the M1 chip for two reasons. For one, if we see the same scale of performance improvements like we've seen with this first generation of M1 computers, just imagine what Apple could do with their Pro line of products. Like the 16-inch MacBook Pro, the iMac Pro, and the Mac Pro. They could solely be for performance. So that's just what gets me really excited. Like, I'm excited to see what they do for those computers because, that's gonna be hard. Like, damn. And two, by waiting, you're gonna have enough time to let Apple work out all the kinks and let the apps that aren't compatible right now become compatible. So then you can get the computer that you want. I mean, it's a win-win. But on the other hand, if you're not someone who has pro needs and you're just an everyday computer user, you know, doing Microsoft Word, text documents, PowerPoints, random school stuff, then these new Apple M1 computers are freaking amazing. I mean, you saw what I said. They're comparing to like $15,000 iMacs. When was that even something that we would even combobulate in our heads? I can't even talk. But like, seriously, that's ridiculous. Like, the base model MacBook Air, which starts at $999, and the base model Mac Mini starts at $699, will be more than enough for someone who has just basic computing needs, like browsing the web and text documents, yada, 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 that kind of stuff. And if you are a pro user and need a couple pro apps and aren't too pro, like a whole movie maker type of guy, you can still use these current models and even the base model of what they have to offer right now to do pro work, as long as you're not like, you know, too pro. You know, if you got 8K raw footage from a Red camera, then bro, I don't know what you think you're doing, but just wait for the top of the line stuff, because this stuff ain't going to do it. But hey, give it a shot. For me, I could totally go with what they have to offer now, but like, I'm a geek for tech, and I'm gonna just wait and see what they drop later on down the line, because I don't care. My broke ass will find a way to somehow drop $10,000 on Apple for no reason. But hey, I love it. I love tech. But anyways, guys, that is the video. I hope I didn't ramble on too long, because I was just kind of having fun. I really wanted to talk about this and just share my love for tech with you guys, because there's just so much going on, and I'm just like, I need to talk about it somewhere. But that is all for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss a single beat. Join the family, join the squad. We are almost at 10K. Help me out, guys, please. Also, do any of you guys plan on copying the new Apple M1 chip computers? Have you even heard about it? Let me know what your thoughts are on them down in the description below. We'll be chatting it up. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure y'all stay classy. Peace out.